Okay. All right, we got 6 o'clock. I'd like to call this meeting to order. I need a motion to approve the agenda.
I so move.
Motion by Judy,
Second.
second by Todd. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, let's stand and say a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Public comment? Public comment? If not, we'll have engineer update.
Good evening, J.D. King, Page County Engineer. Good to be back here in the evening, I guess. The engineer update went out Wednesday morning, and the other document came out Wednesday sometime. It's winter. It might not look totally like winter yet, but it's winter. And our operations are winter dependent or weather dependent. The blades have been out in the districts on dirts primarily, working with ruts, windrows, various things. We've got some trucks hauling shoulder rock to a stockpile on M32. C Avenue, we've got no mowers out. There's a boom mower out. We finished up putting our snow fence in our regular spots. They've been cutting brush and trees east of Blanchard. And I talked about the boom mower already, and the pipe crew's doing some bad pipes on the dirts north of J20 up toward Redwood there, northwest of Hepburn. They've been working in the shop on motor graders. Number 5 with a service. Number 1 with repair of the kingpins, bore out, put in new bushings, tighten up that front end. The number 19 pickup's been in the shores for a turbocharger. It was just an actuator. And the John Deere Field Tech was down for the initial service on number 3, one of our new John Deere motor graders. They're supposed to be putting wings on the trucks this week. Things are continuing to go slowly on the South Pier on the North Essex, on the Essex North Bridge. They've had trouble with the cofferdam keeping out the water and breaking down to the good bedrock we got there. They've been working on the North Embankment, but their focus is the South Pier cofferdam and the South Pier footing. The tentative plan is to put some concrete there, the footing concrete on Tuesday and next week. The crew will be gone before Christmas and then throughout the holidays and come back after the January holiday. So there'll be no work on the bridge over the holiday season, which is customary. We've got project development work on the safety action plan and other routine, regular paperwork. Questions about the engineer update? You turn your attention to the other paper I got, the map of Page County. Got a little red spot at L and 190th. That's the rural water area. They're hooking on rural water on L and taking it over to 190th Street where there's a new residence being constructed there. And then the green outlined roads northwest of Clarinda is where IMO's putting their fiber in. So I got both maps on a single page. Like approval for these utility permits together or separate, it doesn't matter.
Okay, do I hear a motion on those? We have one for IMO and then Southwest Rural Water. Have a motion on that?
I'll make a motion that we approve the utility permit for Southwest Rural Water District and the utility permit for IMO.
I'll second that.
Okay, got a motion and a second. We have discussion on that. You see what it is on the map there? Okay, we'll vote on that. When you're ready.
Clark,
Yes.
Holmes,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. We'll go to the next item here. Are you gonna hang around a little while, JD? Okay. All right. Michelle, you're up. Number 6 there, we have Michelle Spinagle, the Conservation Director.
Okay, so I'm here tonight. Last time we spoke, you guys said there was about $177,000 left in the ARPA funds. Tonight, I am going to request that the Conservation Department get the rest of those funds. I have broken it down to $72,000 for the park shower houses and restrooms, $42,000 for a law enforcement vehicle, $20,000 for the Nottoway Valley Park Road project. He had given me the final estimate, and it was about little over $19,000 more than what it was originally. $25,000 for new kiosks at each campground, $12,000 to tear down a pit toilet at Nottoway Valley Park and a restroom at Pioneer Park. That totals $171,000, and whatever would remain, I would like to go towards a new mower. I do have the papers here for you so you can see that.
Great. Oh, thanks.
Thanks, Michelle.
I know I haven't been here real long, and I'm trying to catch up with this ARP stuff, but I've been told that it has to be, we have to know what the funds are going to by the end of this month.
Yep.
And I feel like nobody else has really came up to try and claim it, so I'm going to fight for it, because I feel like the Conservation Department deserves it. I crunched some numbers on Page County got a little over $2.9 million for ARPA funds, and so far the Conservation Board has only seen about a little over 5%. I don't think asking for this extra $177,000 is asking a whole lot when you're not even looking at 10% of what the whole county had received. All of my vehicles are over 150,000 miles on them. Most of them are over 10 years old. I don't feel like me asking for a law enforcement vehicle so that I can do my job correctly is out of line. The restroom, as I have told you guys before, is in very terrible shape out at Pioneer and needs some work, as do all of the other shower buildings. If the $72,000 was a little over what would just go to the Pioneer shower house, then I could use it at all the other buildings to update those as well. They need to be updated, I'm sure, for handicap usage and things like that, and that gets very expensive. The road, that was my bad. Thought I'd done my math right, so I called them to make sure that I did, and I had not, and it was going to be a little over $19,000 more than what I had predicted. So I would like that so that we don't have to use our budget and our REAP money in order to catch that up. The new kiosks, these kiosks in these parks, they're falling apart. We need somewhere that we can get information out to the people about the campground, things that are happening in the parks and stuff like that. And that extra, if it would be like $6,000, I've gotten one mower, but I need 2 more, and this would help me to at least get 1 more. And then possibly, if I could find it in my budget, then I could get my 3rd one, because all of those mowers are 7 years plus old, so.
So on the bathroom situation, are they building new bathrooms, or what are you just fixing?
So I would like to replace the shower building at Pioneer. And that, I'd given you guys the estimate, that was 62,000 for the bare building. That's no plumbing, no electricity, and I have no idea if the septic is okay and functional that it could be used. That's why I went to 72,000, just in case any of those things happen. And if they don't, and I have a 2,000 extra, that's why I wanted it to be general for shower houses and bathrooms. So if I need to update anything else on these bathrooms, I will be able to do that. Because these buildings they're old and they're starting to show their age.
And you're saying you need 20,000 more now for Nottaway Valley Park?
Yes. Yep, and I put the estimate in there for you guys. I had him, so before I told you he had done it in 4 sections because we were not gonna be able to afford to do the whole thing by ourselves. So I got him to do the entire park in 1 section, 1 mobilization, and it came out to a little over 116,000. And when I had done my numbers, it was 96,000 something, so I was a little bit off.
So the bids didn't change, you just didn't.
I did my numbers incorrectly, yes. I thought I had gotten it all, and like I said, very confusing when I had it split into 4 and then trying to bring it into 1. But I made sure to get the correct number before my board voted to accept that offer, so.
So the bathrooms aren't working, the showers aren't working right now?
Well, they're not on right now.
I mean, before they're shut off.
There's like I told you, there's a leak in that one in Pioneer that they didn't build them back then for you to have access to all the pipes, so I can't find the leak. I've already fixed 4 leaks in there, and this one is destroying the walls. I showed you pictures of the mold and algae that's growing on it. The floor is not correctly pitched, so when the water builds up from this leak, it just sits in the middle of the floor, and people have to walk around it. And it's obviously not the cleanest water because we can only clean it so often.
So you want to tear down the building and start from scratch?
That shower building, yes, I would. Yes.
Well, understand the issues you're facing. That we have have-tos and want-tos, in my mind, Conservation's a wonderful thing, and the parks are wonderful. We have to make sure we cover the have-tos before the want-tos, so, in my mind, what do you guys think? I don't know. We're trying to
Well,
look at everything.
I mean, I definitely think the 20,000 probably should be given for the Park Road, because it does need to be done, and we've agreed that that should be done. And if that covers that, I would have no problem doing that.
So what is it, what's the distance on that? I've forgotten already. It's right here. Your total distance of that road. I'm gonna run that by JD again, make sure this makes sense. It's, what's the total distance there? It's, 1920 and 1390, is that right? Relative.
I don't know the exact total distance in mile. He has it all written in here in feet.
Square yards.
Yeah, 3,362 and 6,660.
So what on a square yard of this, double seal coat, 3/8 limestone chips with 3,000 asphalt, it's 570 a square yard and 407. Have you looked at these? You wanna look, have you? It's a,
I was gonna say, JD's the one that gave me the contact for the guy, so.
okay, well, on the finishing that road, that's kind of cause the park's got, I gotta remember, 70,000 for the boat
70,000
ramp.
for the boat ramp.
What else? Can't remember.
As far as I knew, that was the only thing other than the
That's fair.
Nottaway Road project was
This-
just the $70,000.
Well, I know in the scheme of things, I know that 70,000 out of 2 million is not a lot, 70,000 is still a lot of money. That's just something, but, so 70,000 plus 120 would be about 190,000 if we did those two things. help with that. I wish we had the money to fix everything brand new everywhere myself, but we can't do it all at once.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I
I have
wish-
a list that's 3 times that length,
Yeah.
but this is the things that are the most important to the parks right now.
Yes,
That's
well, I
why I
understand that.
consolidated it.
I see that.
And I know it doesn't seem like a have to the whole county, but for the park system, these are have-tos. Yeah. I don't know how to explain the importance of these parks and the buildings that are within them. I mean, the public uses them every day.
Have you gotten any bids on tearing down, like the pit toilet in Nottaway Valley?
Yes, I
You-
believe I sent that to you guys when I did it was when
Okay.
I gave you the shower building, it was like 5,600 something,
Okay,
somewhere around in there.
okay.
Has anybody came out and recommended tearing it down to fix it? Any repair people? Anybody that fixes plumbing issues? Or is that just what you guys think needs done?
Yeah, that,
I'd like somebody to look at it and say, we can't fix this before I start it over. Has anybody else done that? I mean,
nope, because that building, I believe, was built in the 60s.
well, maybe it needs knocked down.
It's
I
an
guess.
original building to that park.
So this is, so for 60,000, it'd be how many toilets and showers? How is that? Is it
2 toilets, 2 showers.
in a block building?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know. I understand you have needs.
I'm just worried because these are due at the end of the month.
Oh,
And
it's-
that's what I'm worried about,
Oh,
because
I-
I was told 2 weeks ago that we were gonna talk about it that next Tuesday, and then it never came up, and so it just makes me a little nervous to leave.
No.
Otherwise, I mean, we can talk about it again next week, and that's fine.
Yeah, no, it's gonna get obligated. Most of my calls are always about the roads. I had 2 calls this week about different situations, rock and different things. I understand the parks are used and valuable to the county.
Yes, and we get those calls.
Yeah, you get those. I don't.
We get the calls that this is
A
out of
problem.
shape and this
Right.
is not in good shape. And then I come to you to tell you about those calls.
Right. So I lean pretty hard on doing anything we can do for the roads. And we'll do some, we're doing something here.
That's why I'm here to
I
lean
know.
toward the parks.
And that's, you
I'm
put
here to
this,
fight for them, so.
and that's good. I'm glad you brought this in here and put it
Absolutely.
together for us, so.
I try to do my research the best I can. Like I said, new at this, but figuring it out as I go. I always try to give you as much information as I possibly can to show
Yeah.
you how important this is to us.
Yes. Well, what we want to do, we're going to talk about some more ARPA stuff here in a little bit, so I guess we have these numbers. What do you think?
I think we definitely need to do the 20,000.
Yeah, can we just make a
Finish that.
motion to finish that?
I'm
The
fine with
Nottaway, okay, so I would make a motion that we at least give the 20,000 for the Nottaway Valley Park Road project.
And that will, okay, we got a motion.
And that would cover your,
Yes.
okay.
Okay, we got a motion for an additional 20,000 to cover that road project at Nottaway Park.
I'll second that.
Got a second? Okay, just, my only discussion was just as long as the bids didn't change,
Yeah,
So
no.
it's good.
Yeah.
all right, well then we'll finish that out then, so we can vote on that. I guess we'll vote for another discussion.
Clark,
Yes.
Holmes,
Yes,
Mayor.
Yes.
okay, so we got that done. And I guess we've got a list here to sort down through as this ends, so appreciate you putting that together, and we'll see how it shakes out.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Next item, we have ARPA rock items approved November 21st, 2024. I didn't put this on here.
I put that on there because I wanted to ask if we could rescind that and put that, those 3 items, the 85,000, the 64,000, the 250,000. I would like to rescind those and put those toward the building of the jail.
Okay, on that, and I was gonna ask, I saw this on the update, you're already hauling rock for the shoulder project, aren't you? Correct. It's already in motion. And the thing on the jail, I thought about that a lot this last week after we had those bids come in so off. I mean, my own opinion is, the voters put through not to exceed 16.7 million. We haven't even hardly started, and they're wanting over 1 million more. I think, because if we spend it out of ARPA wherever, it's all coming from the budget somehow, because it's gonna come here or come there. If we don't rock, we're gonna have to buy rock with tax money. I think if they can't get it done, they have to go back for bond again. I don't like we're not 100,000 from finishing a thing. We haven't even started yet.
So what shoulder are you doing?
Well, that shoulder rock will go to M32.
And so,
So you're doing the $64,000 one. Okay.
the jail needs to be built for 16.7 million or less, in my opinion, not taxing the people. I mean, as supervisors, we could pull money from wherever. We could tax them more in the general budget. You know, I get that. I am not for that at all. No way. The 16.7, I mean, my taxes alone have went up from just that starting. So not to exceed, I take very seriously.
Yeah, and I've talked to a couple people that, just in passing, saying that, you know, they would rather try to hold the line and hold the budget. If we need to do something different to get it sized down, you know, differently for the 16, they don't want to go over the 16.7.
That's fine, but we have the ARPA money.
Well, we spent some, I mean,
We don't
Some of
have to spend it on rock,
Well, we spent $1 million on the courthouse.
but we
You know.
don't have to spend it on rock at this point. Rock is a normal thing that we spend out of the secondary road budget and budget for that every year.
Yeah.
We
this
have
is-
ARPA funds that are spent for infrastructure. And the
Roads.
jail is infrastructure and could be used for that if necessary.
That
So it
jail,
was just a suggestion.
okay.
yep.
Well, okay, I wanna leave it alone, myself. I would like to take whatever we've got that isn't a want to and put it into more,
And so your
anything
next
else.
suggestion is to spend the $177,000 for more rock.
Yeah, to put where, on the roads, we can't hardly get
Yeah.
rock for, cause that's in the spring and the soft times of year, that's when everybody's upset. If we could take this and take some roads up that have been neglected for 10 years even, we could bring them up to speed. Where the people that pay the taxes can use the roads to go to work or haul their grain or farm. That's kind of what I'm after here. I still can't fathom that jail has to cost 16.7 million. I just can't even fathom that it's gonna be that much. I still, what I said back before this whole thing, and we're past that now, but if it goes back to bond, I'd like to look at the numbers. The interest alone, we're gonna pay on that loan, the interest alone, I
They're
think it's
working on it, Jacob, we don't need to discuss it
$500,000
tonight.
a year. The insurance on the building, what's that gonna be? And all the maintenance, we're gonna spend so much on that. I don't think we should go any farther.
They're
than
working
what
on
is.
it.
They're working on what?
They're working on it. Sam Bill's group is working on it, so.
Okay, and they should, because they're the ones that gave us that number. So, anyway, so, I mean, any action on that? I think we're already down that road. We've obligated the vote and the money, so. Well, number 8 there, I put that on there just as we get to, I talked to JD the other day and said the 250,000 for rock was spread out over all the townships for roads that are hard to get rock for, like not the farm to market roads. And really, over all the townships, that doesn't go as far as you think it would. So if there is some money that is left in the difference, we could spread that out among the townships. Bring that up, that's just why I put that on there. So when we've got a couple meetings here at the most. Because we do, like Michelle said, have to have this obligated, that's right, by the end of the year, so. We just need to come to a thought on that, an agreement, what to do if there's 150 some thousands, we just obligated 20 more.
Yeah, 57,000.
Yeah, roughly, so. So there we are, so we gotta put that the best place we can put it.
And you're suggesting going to having split it up to the townships?
It would just take,
Or-
well,
or
it's
what
gonna,
we-
it would just up that 250,000 more, and then that spreads out over all of them. 'Cause,
On this Missouri Roadstone,
yeah,
you would,
so that we would just do another one.
Not the shoulder projects,
This is
but
the,
the local road project. we're gonna use Missouri roadstone,
Yeah,
and whatever you can send me or obligate me is needed and appreciated, and I'll have a quote form for that, the local rock tomorrow, next week.
to make it happen.
Now, I got a question. So, if we're using some more money for the road stone stockpile, is there savings then somewhere else from the county, the secondary roads budget, that you're not gonna have to buy stone, that now we're using the ARPA funds that you would have normally bought? Do you see what I'm saying? Is there money that you would normally buy?
With ARPA money, I can buy more.
Okay,
You're going after the roads that are harder to rock,
okay.
aren't you? So this is an addition to what you were gonna do anyway.
Okay, this is not in
This
place
is
of what
not
he
in
would
place
normally
of.
buy, okay.
Because yeah, that's a good question, because that's trying to think about, is it just replacing a line in the budget when you shift it somewhere else? No,
Right.
this is something additional,
Okay,
beyond what would be normal, so. I mean, that's what we got in front of us. We got some conservation projects here, and we got that in front of us.
How much more time do you need to decide?
I don't need any more, I'm good with,
I think it would be nice if we would decide tonight what we're gonna do with it.
well,
Whether we're gonna give it to conservation or whether we're gonna give it to the rock.
could you give, 100,000 for the rock and 70 more thousand to conservation?
it's 50,000.
Or,
How about
sorry,
100,000 to conservation and 70 to the rock?
That's only
I
50.
just,
I mean, we've given plenty to the rock. I think conservation needs it more than the rock needs it.
this county is, the roads are our number one infrastructure in this county, more than any building.
Yeah.
We have to have the roads. Then the buildings come after that. The parks come after that, probably. I like the parks, but it's too bad that 70,000 was spent on the boat ramp. That was before Michelle and all that. That was a lot of money for something pretty small. I just, and everybody, I'm like an open book. I just put it all on the roads. Because I see issues here, but I guess we could throw some money through at maintenance. How about this? How about we throw some maintenance money to work on that building? Or something, give them a little extra maintenance money to work on some plumbing. Maybe 10,000 or something to put towards maintenance. If they got plumbing issues, and put the
I
rest
was
of the
gonna
roads.
maybe suggest half of what the 70, so 62,000, if you did half, 31,000. At least, maybe they could come up with the other half to do the building if we helped out with that. As far as the shower house piece of it.
You're only gonna give them 30,000 out of the 150,000.
Yes.
We're taking it away from
Or-
people out in the country, on the roads. That's how it goes.
How about 50,000?
Well, I was at 10, so, no. And I thought that was just some maintenance money. I know their budget doesn't have a lot, but every year there is money that the county pays, taxpayers pay to put towards the budget to help parks every year.
We have $157,763. How about 57,763 to conservation and 100,000 to rock?
I'm good with that.
How much, that would give you that would give you $350,000 for Missouri Stone. How much more does that buy? It says here that the 14,900 tons with the 250. What? Quick math.
That's, Now, you said that 60,000 was just for the bare building. There's no plumbing. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
I think this sound, there might not be a shower out there. If it cost $100,000 to take a shower at that park, it might not be worth it. I mean, this is business, okay? Well, you said 60,000 gets you the bare building. We're getting an outer space here, so we gotta back up. I mean, I spend
I
that.
think on a shower building, all it is two lights, a couple electrical outlets, and that's really it. It's
Yeah.
not like a house.
I got it. Well, it's costing like a house, so that's what the problem is.
That's because it's block and it's,
There's gotta be a better way. There's gotta be a better way. It's too much money for that. Way too much money. I understand they gave you that bid, but there's a different mousetrap for this thing. There's gotta be a better way than that. There might be other things you can spread the money out on, maybe some maintenance or working on stuff, but I can't go along with that. That's too much money for that. I mean, it might be that there's no shower house. If it's truly that much money and there's no other way, it's not worth it. It's not worth that much. So, anyway, I would give a little money to help them out with some maintenance if they need it. I'd give maybe 10,000 to help the conservation with some maintenance, additional funds. So I'd make that a motion even, if we're all right with that. So I don't know if I make that one motion or two.
Give them,
Do just $10,000 to put towards.
10,000 is
some
not very
maintenance.
much.
To maintenance.
How about 20?
Well, I mean, that calls a plumber quite a few times. I mean, what they, I don't know. I'm not
Todd,
I don't know. I just feel
Two
like
of us.
I've been out to these places and they are kind of run down, and it would be nice to have some pride in our parks, and I don't think it's too much to ask for a little bit of help. And we have somebody now that is willing to spend it on the right things instead of boat ramps.
And really working on it.
And I know they spent $70,000 on a boat ramp, which was ridiculous. And
that wasn't me.
that wasn't you,
No, that
correct?
wasn't you.
I get that.
You're really trying,
And-
Michelle, we know.
25,000 for the new kiosks at least, so that when you roll into these parks, that's the first thing you see and they're nice. That shows you all the information about Page County, and I'm gonna put things about history, education.
So is this digital?
But I'd rather have you put it in the restrooms.
I know.
Yeah.
A lot of
I think those
campgrounds.
are a lot more important than the kiosks.
So what is this kiosk? Is it wood frame bulletin board?
Yep.
So how many bulletin boards is that?
Right.
5 bulletin boards, so $5,000 up.
Yes.
For a bullet, is it lit or
Yes.
that's
And
like?
it's plexiglass, so I can put papers underneath them and they don't get wet. And we have problems with our tubes where the money goes, those getting soaked because there's no roof over them. This would put a roof over them.
Well, so.
How about this? Is there a way that, because I guess I didn't hear that you said that you'd gotten any bids on some of this stuff, right? Or have you? Besides what you sent us, is there like multiple bids?
Yeah, would respond.
Okay. It'd be nice to have multiple bids to see if you could get
I
some.
would love that too. I tried very hard. I called 5 different contractors and I got one to respond, so.
Okay.
I think we're working under time constraints, so I think
We'll go on.
whatever we give them is gonna go to a good cause.
What do you want to do? And then they can just put it where they think it applies the best, I guess.
They have plenty of projects.
And we did ask for people to bring us ideas about where to spend money. And I feel like she did really good
Yes.
at getting us.
This one's real muddy this spring. We're doing a lot of rock. When somebody calls, says, well, the bathroom is really nice out there at Pioneer
We've
Park.
already given Rock $399,000, Jacob,
I know, I just want to make sure we're thinking about that.
but
right?
we've
So-
given them $399,000.
So what's the number? What's the number?
$57,763 for conservation.
I would go. I wouldn't do the full 57. I'd probably do
50,000?
25.
Oh, come on, you were higher than that a minute ago.
Make it a
I was
motion
at
then.
20.
No, you
and
were
then
higher
going
than
up to
that.
25.
Let's do 10.
No, Jacob was
No.
at 10, so I'm at 20.
Where?
I'll do 25,000 additional to conservation.
Okay. make
That
a
will
motion.
leave 120, what, 22,000?
26, what, oh, 22, yeah.
Yeah, 122,760, and you can put that towards rock.
Okay, make that a motion.
Okay, that's my move. So I motion that we give conservation another 25,000, ARPA funds, and that the rest of the 32,760 goes to rock.
Okay, did you catch all that, Sydney? I'll second that. I guess any discussion? I guess we'll vote.
Clark,
No.
Holmes,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes.
Okay, we got our obligator.
Okay, so everything's done. We're done with ARPA.
Okay, thanks for coming in. All right. Next up on the agenda, we have Shenandoah Hills Road Use Agreement. The next is decommissioning, number 10. Today, I think that, I don't know when it was yesterday, or today, that came in all kind of done again, and I had a lot of calls wanting to see that. And I think, did it get stuck up on the website? It's now on the website today. And I don't know if we ought to do that when it's only been on the website a few hours. Because I, the last several weeks, have had people want to see what it was we were talking about.
I had some.
I thought it was on there, but
I
it
had some
wasn't.
questions about it.
Yeah, what's that?
So, let me see if it might have been in the decommissioning, so maybe I'll wait till that,
Okay,
because, yeah, I guess I didn't really have questions on this one as much as
That was my
the
issue.
decommissioning. I had some questions because it was what our settlement was, and I think there's some things that need to be changed on it.
okay. Well, do we need to reach out and check on that? And do it next week, put it on
So this is on the webpage, and we just have to finalize that, and we could do that next week.
there? And we can just put it on next week's agenda, but
Yeah.
it did get put on, I think, today.
And looking through this one, I didn't, the road use, I didn't find anything really, different or wrong on anything that we were looking at, but the decommissioning I did, and I kinda wanted to talk about that a little bit.
Well, that's what we want to do. Just, put them on next week's agenda. I'm good with that because it wasn't on there. No, do you have a comment?
Yes.
Yep.
My name's Christy Rogers. I'm counsel for Shenandoah Hills Wind. We're able to talk about any of your concerns to address those, Todd.
On the
With regard to-
decommissioning?
Yes, we can.
And, yeah, so, I was waiting until it got to the agenda part, but,
No, that's all right. Go on. We'll go to
on the,
number 10.
just from a standpoint of, I think it talked about, yeah, it said, 28 turbines, and I think it's down to 23. So
Correct.
there's just some wording that probably needs to be changed and updated. That was my biggest concern, was there was some things that, from the settlement, are not the same as what they used to be.
And yeah, we just prepared, this is exactly basically what was done
From,
before.
yeah, it was
And
in
those
2022,
simple-
right, yep.
Those simple, non-substantive changes, we can certainly
Okay.
agree to tonight. I even have them on my computer and can update them and print them out.
Yeah,
So-
and that was my biggest
Yeah.
concern. I think most of the rest of it looked good. I just wanted to clear up some numbers and some things that were
Well,
on
my
there.
concern is it did get posted till today.
Yeah,
my-
Your
have
concern
mul-
is what?
It did not get posted for anybody to see till today, and I had several calls, and I said, I thought it was on the website. It got put on today, I think, because we received the kind of, I don't think we had something that was this finished until maybe yesterday, I don't, it's been pretty recently. Because the attorney,
This has been in the possession of the prior board, substantially the
yeah,
same
but
agreement.
you guys
so-
worked on this with the attorney over the last few weeks. There's been
No,
things.
we literally fixed a few typos.
That's what you call working on. So we did just get the finished product, which still needs a little more finishing.
There is,
today.
Jacob, no requirement under Iowa law for you to post those agreements prior to a vote on them, particularly when they're a ministerial function of the settlement agreement that you've already entered into. This is a requirement of the settlement agreement. If you look at page 4, I believe, section,
There's nothing that says that people have to approve.
No, but as we represent people, they'll go look at what we're voting on. Agendas get 24 hours, you
So,
know,
and the other question I had was, so under the, cost estimate, so their estimated total cost of decommissioning plan minus salvage scrap value totals, $2,334,000 for the project at, I think it says 83,392 per turbine. Do those numbers need to be raised?
That-
Because that's probably more now, isn't it?
yeah, I
I'm
can
guessing.
address that. So these numbers are what was at the time this agreement was negotiated in 2022, that by a third party, and that independent third party report is attached. In this agreement in section 6, you
Oh,
have
okay.
the ability to request at any time you're concerned about those numbers, an updated version of that. And it also is required to be updated every 5 years. I would propose that, you know, I mean, our intention was already to provide you an updated plan with those numbers at the time that the project is commissioned. You know, doing it before then would kind of be
Right.
superfluous, right?
Okay.
But yeah, that's already in there that you can request those at any time.
Okay.
so there's still a few more typos in this. The number, so I'm trying to find these.
Where are there more typos?
Well, the number of turbines, he said, I was trying to find that spot.
I just said that, yeah. So under the decommissioning cost where it says 28, and they're gonna change that, so.
Well, I really
23, so-
like people being able to see something before we vote on it, because I had people from in the area and out of the area call me and say, where is this at? And I thought it was up there.
Are these, so on this, things that need to be changed, is that something we need to do since it's our document to change?
I can make whatever changes need to be made. I can do it tonight and give it to you. I can print it out. You can, you know,
What's
the 3 things that, you know, I am aware of, there are additional turbine models still listed in section 4.
Oh, yeah, that was another one.
The 23 versus 28 turbines,
Yep.
and the, you know, that estimate table, that number.
Okay. Yep, yeah, I forgot about the different turbines, that, there's a whole bunch of lists of different ones.
I mean,
Yep.
the ones that are in the settlement agreement
Yep.
are still there.
The one question I did have, so we talked a lot about when we voted on that, and I think, Dan had said that they were willing to put smaller turbines in those 4 locations that we kind of wanted to see if they could be removed. Is that something that needs to be put in the agreement, added, or just so that we have some clarity and can at least hold accountability for that?
I mean,
so it doesn't
that would
get-
really-
So it doesn't get missed?
Yeah, that is really the sort of thing that would have belonged in the settlement agreement. It doesn't really pertain to the subject matter of this agreement, and to the
Right.
extent that it affected it, if anything, it would make those decommissioning estimates lower probably.
Sure.
But that commitment is one that, you know, we take seriously. We have it recorded along with our agreement
Okay.
that we're obligated
I just didn't
to
want
do
that to get lost.
It will not.
Okay.
Yeah, Todd, if there's anything, like if there's a separate written agreement you want us to pull up for that commits to that, we could do something like that as
Okay.
well.
All right,
Absolutely.
thank you.
Okay, well, not a real big hurry. Oh, you guys act like you're in a big fat hurry. I mean, is there something on fire? If people see it for a few days, it shouldn't hurt anybody before we vote on it.
We anticipated originally that since they were provided and you've had them during the negotiation of the settlement agreement, that would happen already, so.
And I
you know,
think Eric encouraged us to do it tonight.
That's true, there are litigation deadlines in the cases that are
Right.
pending, including one as soon as next week, so that's why.
Right.
That's why this was on the agenda tonight, is my understanding.
That's why Eric put it on tonight.
Well, we just saw this. I thought it was today, or was it yesterday? He sent, you guys been working on fixing wording. And then I said, we'll get that on the website. So we stuck it on the website. So,
I don't have any issues with it, do you, Todd?
Well, and like I
Other
said,
than those few changes?
other than the changes that
Yeah.
I saw that I was concerned about,
Right,
those are
that they've
the,
addressed.
yes. And I don't know that anything else is gonna change.
No, I don't think
You-
so.
Jacob, is
I don't
there,
know. Probably not. I wish it'd been posted for a week or at least a couple days.
I think it's up to us to do it and not to the public.
What? Well, this is, we're
No, I-
acting on their behalf.
I like the public to see it, obviously. I don't know that there's anything that we're gonna be able to change with it, except for making sure that the wording is
Yeah,
correct.
another set of eyes looking at it.
And the numbers are correct and things, which we brought attention
Which you brought
to.
the attention to, yes.
We would certainly be
Right.
comfortable if you wanted to approve them with those changes, and we would make them tonight and provide you the documents tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, just bear with me. I'm just
No problem, take all the time you need.
making sure that there isn't something else before you make changes. Do you know which turbines you're gonna be using? Where it
It's-
says, where there's, you
It's in
know.
the settlement agreement,
Yeah, I can't remember
yeah,
what the,
it's the Vestas.
Vestas,
Mm-hmm.
okay. And that's the only one?
Yes.
Okay. And those all have the 40-year lifespan, pretty much? Okay.
Yes, and our easements are for 40 years, yeah.
Yep, okay. And then did we agree, so we had talked about escrow account or having some kind of fund approved so that in case something happened, that
Yep,
we
at
were,
the
we
top
were
of,
well aware that you guys were gonna, be able to cover that.
yeah, section 7, sub 2.
Okay,
At the top of the next
Yep.
page there, that allows you to require a financial assurance in one of, various forms.
okay, yep. I mean, I guess I would like, if you could make the changes to it and make it look, like what we've discussed, then that would probably clear it up for me.
I would agree to that.
How do you want to do that? How do you want to accomplish that?
Yeah, how do you,
I'd say motion to approve pending those 3 changes that we discussed,
can you,
or I can update them right now while the meeting continues.
and then we'll come back to you?
Yeah,
There's something else I thought of on this. I was thinking about this on the way up here. we're gonna go into the solar ordinance next, and this is just a maybe. To get it published, Cindy checked on publishing dates and things, and I think the paper's next Tuesday is the cutoff. The deadline is Tuesday. Next week is earlier because of Christmas and stuff. So if we had something Tuesday, like a meeting Tuesday morning or something, we could let the public see this for a couple days, that's sooner than our next meeting. And we could also go ahead and do our third reading and then send it to the newspaper of our other ordinance.
Does this have to go to the newspaper?
No,
It does
I'm just
not.
saying that would give us a quicker meeting, is all
No,
I'm saying.
I agree with Todd that we go ahead and do it tonight.
No, it's fine. I'd just like people to see it. So, and look over it.
I would make a motion that we go ahead with this tonight.
How? Amended or not?
Amend,
No,
well,
well,
I would like to
okay.
see the amended thing,
Yeah.
the versions,
Okay.
and just have a cleaned up version.
Okay, well, let's go
Okay.
reading and you
Okay.
guys go amending. Is
Okay, that's fine.
that all right?
We'll just wait on that, but I have a, yeah.
Did you have something else?
No, I have something on the solars. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Okay,
Thank you,
Okay.
guys.
Thank you.
all right, then we'll skip on down to
Okay,
the
the solar.
solar ordinance,
Okay,
yeah.
I have a question on this. I have never in my life seen us go through a reading of of an ordinance before. So I would like to make a motion that we waive the second and third readings. And, I know, we all know where it's gonna go, so we know what you're gonna do. So I guess I would like to move forward and, waive the second and third readings and make a motion
Okay, we got a motion to,
that we move forward with the solar ordinance.
okay, we got a motion to do that. Do we have a second?
Did you,
Okay, we'll have
I'll
let's see,
second
we got a
that.
second, no discussion. Okay, we got a second. Now a discussion. Hold on one second. I was just a question on what you said there. As far as ordinances go, you do,
I've never ever seen us sit here and read an ordinance before, ever.
not even the first?
Never,
The first,
ever.
the first time?
I've never seen it read before.
Oh, well.
No,
Now,
Isn't that what we're supposed to do though?
no,
Yeah.
I've
For
never seen one read
reading an
before.
ordinance, that's
No.
for the public.
I've never seen one read before.
yeah, no,
And maybe you read the tanning ordinance, but I've never seen it read before. I've never seen one read before.
and there's,
I
And there
have never,
also-
ever seen one read before.
I think there's an option you can publish, I think, maybe.
Right.
That costs
Yeah.
money.
Well, you said you're gonna publish it anyway, so.
You have to publish it when
Yeah,
you're done.
right.
So, but if you publish it before, we probably save hundreds of dollars us reading
Yeah,
it. So I
whatever.
thought, save the county a few $100s, we could
But
read it.
you know what
for-
you're gonna do with it anyway, so why are we doing this?
Well, I mean, just to be as transparent and open to the public as we can. But, yeah,
You've
so,
got it out on the website,
yes, we do, and it's been up there for a while.
so why waste the time sitting here reading it? I'd rather go home. Than sit here, it's cold out.
Okay,
Are you in that chair if you don't want to do the job?
we.
What?
Why are you sitting in that chair if you don't want to sit here and do the job?
I don't wanna sit here and read an ordinance when I know what they're gonna do anyway.
May I speak then?
We're having
Yeah.
discussion, I guess, come up and have discussion.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
Yeah, go ahead. No, you're
Go-
all right.
You
We're having
can speak.
discussion, go ahead.
Crystal,
Come up to the podium.
Yeah, go ahead and speak.
Okay.
So I'm Crystal Worrell. I appreciate the reading of the ordinance. And to share just a short vulnerability, I have a processing disorder and the reading on the website is difficult for me. So to hear it, I truly do appreciate you taking the time to read that aloud. That is why I'm present today. I missed the first reading because I was not well enough to attend. I am barely well enough to stand here and speak to you right now. Now, my husband Jacob and I were able to meet with John and Marcus from Mid-American this afternoon. We saw an unofficial map that gives us a tentative area of a project north of town that they would like to bring in once this ordinance is passed. Before we were read, I thought I was scanning through and read where the solar project had to be lit at night. And was I incorrect in reading that? Is there any clause in there that states it has to be lit up at night?
I'm not sure.
I thought there said something about lighting the area, but I'm not sure if it
lighting the area?
Yeah, just like outside lights around the perimeter,
So.
maybe just like yard lights.
Like
I don't think like,
So for a 3 to 400 acre project, that would be like a stadium, correct? To be able to light up a project that large around the perimeter?
yeah, I don't know if there's regulations with that lighting that you
It
have to
says
have.
if
If
lighting,
lighting is for, yeah,
if lighting is provided, it doesn't say it has to be.
Okay,
Then it shall be shielded and downcast such as that light does not project directly onto the adjacent parcels. So,
okay,
yeah.
that's what it says there.
thank you. Now, I would like to view this ordinance as if we didn't already know about a project wishing to come in. And I did not see it as an intentional project killer, when I was able to scan through on the website. But then again, my comprehension of it was poor. I think we've heard plenty of rural citizens express their concerns about encroachments and their desire to preserve the way of life in our culture that, if you will, of the rural Page County lifestyle. And I'm here to state my support and appreciation for the ordinance's half-mile setback from a non-participant's property line. This allows us a voice. Seeing the current northern line of this probable project that these gentlemen and a couple of our neighbors would like to bring in, seems the project wants to come up to about 1,000 feet from our home. We took these gentlemen up to our bedroom, to our master bedroom, so they could see where our concerns are, our visibility. So measuring any sort of issue from our yard line that's down the hill from our house, that doesn't protect our home from the issues and what the issues would be. And I understand we're just one sitting duck in the way of this progress that some people would like to see. But I still want to protect my family's 6-year history on our acreage as we raise the 4th generation in the home that we renovated to have as a forever home. We chose to invest in Page County. And Judy, I hope you appreciate this. A portion of my home predates the abstract and predates the courthouse's construction. We spent an entire year, my husband took an entire year off of working to commit the time to renovating the home properly to preserve that history. Okay? We saw the numbers that show Mid-American gaining. Now this is due to market generalization, just as a general number, that approximately $12 million a year goes into their pocket alone off of this project. That's $12 million. Of that, the state receives after the state receives the funds, we will only see maybe about $60,000 of that annually. I've already been cautioned by real estate professionals to be concerned for our property value due to our location proximity to this possible project that everybody already knows about. I checked the Zillow today and it already tanked $9,000 in 1 month.
And what did you say, Crystal? What was that last part?
I checked Zillow website
Uh-huh.
that our tax assessor likes to use for our property value assessments to kind of bounce off of to where he knows what to put us at. And our property value in less than 30 days tanked $9,000. Where I've been tracking it for the past year, we've been fluctuating maybe $1,200 property value per month. So due to market changes, it will fluctuate on that website, but this is the first time in how long we lived there, 4 years, that we've seen a $9,000 decline for absolutely no reason.
And I
We've
don't
actually
know
made
that
it-
our assessor has anything to do with Zillow.
No, but he uses it, and I'm just referencing that as because he does use that site to in his system to give our tax assessments of what he thinks our properties are valued at, so he knows how to tax us. I've had extensive conversations with him, and he referenced Zillow several times.
Okay.
Okay. And while it would be nice to see a lower value to pay lower taxes, I also explained my documented medical condition that almost humorously places us in a bind. I've been heavily researching large-scale solar. There are triggers I have to avoid to prevent my nervous system from going into non-epileptic seizures. I stay home as much as I can to stay in my safety bubble. This keeps me functional so I can care for my family. So these gentlemen have offered to provide studies to our area to see what may be problematic. Allowing a project within a half mile
puts us out of our home if I want to maintain my mobility and independence. I don't go on the record and put this out there lightly. It's actually quite embarrassing to be open about my condition. I would appreciate this ordinance to hold as it is for the setbacks, not just to protect my right as a tiny rural property owner, but as a reasonable effort to preserve the rural life many folks enjoy about rural Iowa. So thank you for writing the ordinance as you have. I feel like it is reasonable for the county as a whole.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Okay. Well, we have a motion and a second to,
John.
I appreciate you giving me the moment. Thank you very much. John Huff with Mid-American Energy. First of all, I do want to say I absolutely agree with Supervisor Holmes on a lot of the points that he's made tonight about certain things being have-tos and certain things being want-tos. And we definitely agree with that. Electric generation is certainly something that is a have-to. Now, with that said, people can debate about what their preferred method of that generation is, okay? But I would be very surprised for anybody to propose a less obtrusive form of electric generation than solar. I did send an email, and we can enter that into the record if that's a thing. I'm happy, I've got a copy here, but if you don't mind, I want to give a very brief overview of that because it hits a lot of the points that I just want to bring up really quick. So, I just touched on a little bit about, yes, height restrictions being one of the things. We would ask for a 20-foot height restriction. But look, I understand, I don't know whether or not there was intent for this to be a project killer. Also, I understand that this is bigger than our project. This is about having a workable, balanced ordinance. I completely get that. But the barriers that are in place to this project are going to be barriers in place to all other solar projects. And that also needs to be understood. So no, this is not just a Mid-American issue. This is not just a Nottoway Valley solar project issue. This is an issue with being able to have solar in Page County where there is a demand for power. And we need to meet that affordably for the customer, reliably for the customer. And we are in a service territory where there are Mid-American customers here.
on your email there, you said our neighboring counties, like where the 15 feet was too restrictive. And our neighboring counties all are 20 or whatever, right? You sent that. But in your list you sent, you didn't include Fremont County, which is where we got the 15 feet from.
Okay. And
So
sure,
it wasn't
sure.
pulled from the Wild Blue Yonder. It was our neighboring, which you missed that one when you were going to the counties around us. You missed that one.
Well, what I didn't miss though was the property line setbacks. I think, and that's honest. There are 5 counties that border here, right? And the one that's missing from the height restriction is Fremont.
Yeah,
And you're right. I believe they do have a 15-foot height restriction. So,
that's where that came from.
okay, fair enough. But what I am saying also though, if you look at the property line setbacks, there is not a bordering county
No.
with any sort of comparable setback to that. Now, I can't give you a perfect number for a setback distance that we would recommend, but what I can say is there are third parties that have. The Center for Rural Affairs recommends and I have a copy of that as well that I'm happy to provide. From non-participating dwellings, the Center for Rural Affairs recommends 100 to 300 feet.
Hang on, pause 1 second, if it's okay. I met those guys, and they came here before, I think. I've talked to them up at the state. They, now, to be full disclosure on them, they are promote green energy. That's one of their main things, right? So it sounds important, Center for Rural Affairs, but their whole thing is to promote green energy. What they call green energy, you don't know? We can look it up. I mean, Center for Rural Affairs is not 100 random farmers they talk to. It is a outfit that is set up and funded by green energy.
Look,
So that is what that is.
okay, also, what I'm also telling you, solar is not just a matter of being a green issue. It's not. It's the most rapidly deployable form of electric generation that we have. Okay? So that's an important distinction to make. We're not just doing this to be in an ivory tower and look down and say that everybody needs to be renewable all the time in all circumstances. The renewable thing is great. That's great. Do we want to be sustainable? Absolutely. That's one of our pillars as a company. But I'm telling you also, again, what is a less obtrusive form of electric generation? Because I know a lot of different forms of it, and I want to know which one is the perfect one. So we got to provide power, and we got to do it somehow. And this fits it checks a lot of boxes for what we need here. And again, it's not just about this project. It's about solar, period. As written, this ordinance would stop solar effectively, period. Now, I'm gonna tell you partly why that is. The 2,640-foot setback from a non-participating dwelling. Again, I don't know that anybody's intent here was to be a project killer. I'm not saying that, but I am saying is it was drafted from an ordinance that does use prohibitive language. There was no intent to promote solar in that ordinance, and that's where it came from. And it's gonna do that. It will kill a project, not just this one, but others. So, if we lay a circle on a map and we go out 2,640 feet from any point of that, from our project, in this case, our project, any project, but in this case specifically, that'd be 80 parcels of land would hit at half a mile. I don't know that that's 80 people, but it's quite a bit of people. Now, let's call it 80 people for the sake of conversation. What if 79 people want it? One doesn't sign the waiver. Now we've let one person determine it for 80. So these are all just considerations I'm asking for, and it's not that we think that you haven't spent a lot of time on drafting it, it's not that at all. But there's still considerations that absolutely need to be made, and one thing I definitely want to clarify, I've talked to Will Doherty, he's come here before. It was said in the last meeting that he was okay with the half-mile setback. Now, I do think there was an honest mistake there, 100%. I think that it was just lost in translation. I've talked to him, I've read articles, I've looked at the videos of the past meetings. He endorsed notification of people within 2,640 feet, and we got no problem with that. We'll talk to anybody, and we will.
You know, a half mile, I know, compared to 100 foot from somebody's house seems like a long ways, or 300 foot, which I think is crazy myself. 300 foot from somebody's house, that's crazy. For 400 acres of solar panels that you didn't have anything to do with. Now, you're acting like a half mile is 1,000 miles, okay? If you don't have enough land to put this on, then you need more land. I mean, you need more buffer. The people that signed up need to be more. I mean, there's a lot of, you need another half a mile around you to agree to it. It means you need to get more people signed on to this wonderful thing. You gotta sell it.
So,
You're changing things forever.
first of all, I don't agree that we are changing things forever, because these can be decommissioned,
Well,
there will be a decommissioning agreement.
For the future, near future, long-term future, whatever, you're changing it. So you're not having to go, it's a half a mile and it's waivable. So you gotta sell it. You've sold how many acres? 400 acres?
Right, and
That's,
go ahead.
that's nearly a mile section, not quite, but you've sold that many to do it, so you're gonna have to sell a few more. You're gonna have to sell some land then. It's waivable. It's waivable. You're having to talk.
So what does happen then in the situation I described, where we'll just say that less than 10%, so you got 90% of the people either are okay with it, don't care, whatever, there's 10% that don't want it, so those people do rule the day then.
I guess you need more land.
If you have 90% of people that are for it, that live out by it, then I think they're gonna waive the thing, right?
Right, but how many waivers not signed does it take? I mean, if one person doesn't sign the waiver, I'm just asking how it's supposed to read.
I would think then you adjust
Your plan.
wherever your plan is and say, okay, well, we can't build this way, we're gonna have to come this way because we got waivers on this side more.
So what if we do buy more land as well, by the way, and it continues to hold true that there's still a lot of landowners in the area? It's just ever moving the location, but that's still gonna run into the same issues.
There's both sides. The people that want it's fine. There's people that don't. We don't work for one side or the other. It has to be on both. And it's a balance. It can't just be.
Can I ask a question?
You
just
may,
real
yes, sir,
quick?
absolutely.
Just, I'm sorry, I don't remember your name. Me? No, the gentleman it's going, where in relation to your house is this gonna be? Do you live out there next to it? No. So it's not gonna be anywhere near where you're living? Okay, that's.
And to that point though, I respect the point you're making, I do.
Right,
and
I just, if it was 300 feet from his house, maybe he'd think twice about wanting to put it in there.
Maybe, and maybe not, but
So-
regardless, there are also absentee landowners or a thing. There's people who,
Definitely.
and they can also sign, or choose not to sign a waiver just because they don't want to, or because we can't reach them. What happens when we cannot reach somebody who may live in Texas, for example, but they own land here? We can't get a hold of them by phone. They don't sign a waiver. Now the project is killed.
Well, you're a big businessman. That's kind of how business works. I mean, this is not. Why are you looking at me like that for? I mean, you got to go out and talk to people, and you got to make the deal.
We agreed to go talk to people 100%, but who gets to be, so again, I just want to make clear, if one person does not sign a waiver out of 80, for an example, then 79 people are overruled by the one dissenting or apathetic or despondent person. That's all I'm asking. I'm just asking a question.
Well, the 80 example, I tried to go out there and look on Beacon. I don't know how you're coming up with 80 landowners, because there's not.
80 parcels.
Parcels,
And I said
maybe.
for intents and purposes, 80 people.
80 40s, because most things are in 40s. So where are you getting?
Where most things are
40, a parcel is normally a 40, is how it's broke up by when they identify each. So you're
I mean, we
coming
have
up with,
I have a project developer who can speak to that. We ran a query. We have an
Okay.
engineering service that did it.
I just was.
So, I mean, yeah, we're trying to listen, we're trying to work with Page County. We're not trying to work against anybody whatsoever. There's a need for power. And that's the same that I'll, yield from here, but this is not consistent. The setbacks are the main things. If the height restriction is what it is, it's not ideal. Can somebody live with it? Probably. The setbacks, it doesn't work for solar development. It's not gonna work now, and it's not gonna work ever.
So
So you
people
can't make
agree.
a smaller project with the setback. Instead of like a 400 acre farm, maybe you do a 300 acre farm.
Well, it's a demand-based situation here. We're trying to meet the demands. So we're not just wanting to make power for its own sake. People have power needs, and we got to generate it somehow. So it doesn't do a ton of good for us to take this from a 50 megawatt down to like a 6 megawatt project in this situation if we got to meet a certain demand.
So to go from 400 to 300 goes from 50 to 6. I mean, your numbers are kind of, if you shrink by a quarter, it wouldn't shrink from.
And there's also, and I'll allow my project developer to speak to this, but I believe that we've already had to run these numbers by regulatory authorities, and they have, correct? Yeah, if you don't mind. And I appreciate the time. They're just concerns that, I mean, this is what we mean when we say there's got to be more time to look at this, because respectfully, I haven't heard an answer to a couple of those concerns that I made, and I appreciate being able to speak though.
Here's the thing, I'll answer. What have you not had to answer? We've talked about this for a year. What have you not had to answer?
What have we not?
79 out of 1 can stop 80, is that your big question?
Okay, what if it's 10 to 1 even?
I don't
What-
care if it's 1.
So
You know
one,
what?
so one person definitely gets to make the call
Every
on this.
property you have, that you're changing things, you gotta get them to agree. You're coming in wanting to build something big that's different, you gotta get them to agree. Or you gotta buy more land, you gotta get more land. There's lots of things I can't do because I don't have enough land. I have to buy more if I wanna do it. You're gonna have to buy more if you can't get it done. And if you can't find the phone number, that's not my fault either. You gotta figure it out.
Well, and we have been out today even.
Good, I'm glad that that's causing you to talk to people.
We-
That is really good.
Okay.
So
Thank
it
you for
needs to
your
be
time.
done.
On our board, Marcus Galante back again. Good to see you again. Just want to echo some of the comments or maybe clarify certain things from John. Just starting with the regulatory requirement. So there is the board's ordinance, the Board of Supervisors ordinance, but there is also, and we've been educating people on this openly, there is the GCU notification area. So within the bounds of a project, or the boundary of a project within 1,000 feet from it, we would have to notify people anyway. This would be a part of the state process. So
1,000 feet.
1,000 feet, we would notify. So we would send a letter, maybe certified with tracking or whatever it may be. We would invite them to come to a meeting. We would educate people. We would want to talk to people. Our engagement strategy continues to unfold. Door knocking is a slow process. Sometimes you reach people when they're at their house. Sometimes you leave a card, you expect a call back. But I would stick with John's comment that, look, there's people out there that frankly would even see a mailer from 26, 39 feet away as an adverse hardship for a project that they maybe don't care about. And maybe throw that stuff away and it becomes difficult to communicate, right? We'll do the door knocking, we'll try to, but from the standpoint of a 26, 39 setback, without, just plainly speaking, not on a notification basis, on a waiver or agreement basis, it is a project killer, and it is a ban on solar in Page County. And that's agnostic of our project. I would say that there is still a place for people to have their voice in meetings like this. If we have a permit process, people still have the chance to as we engage with the community, have their voices heard. So,
And what with the
And
voice?
what-
Nothing can stop.
Yeah, what happens, so if they have their voices heard, which is great,
yeah,
but what then? I mean, if we have citizens that want the half-mile setback,
yeah.
then, and they come and voice their opinion about it, what are we to do? Because,
That's your prerogative.
Oh, then we
Because
stop the
that-
permit, you maybe sue us or something, maybe do something like that, be real friendly.
so that is why we made the ordinance, obviously, you know.
And you notification is easy, you can send some letters out, maybe knock on a door and document it, but that don't mean nothing, they have no say in it, none.
I'm just giving you the background on the process, and that local policy is one thing, but we have other things to observe through this as well. So I'm not here to go back and forth. I would say that we had 24 hours, with the last issuance of the ordinance. We do have several dozen more edits. This is, to me, illustrative of the communication process that we would have appreciated, and I think makes for a balanced ordinance. And if you waive the readings or future meetings, whatever you decide to do later, if you decide to move forward with the ordinance, that's fine. I would still be happy to share with you edits, things that I see in here that could be a problem from the standpoint of the ordinance itself. So I ultimately appreciate your time tonight. If you don't mind, just take a look at my notes, make sure I haven't missed stuff. I won't want to just spend the whole time up here going point by point on the ordinance and my review of it, but I'm just pointing out strictly that, look, I did my red lines. I found some things that, frankly, I wish we would have been able to talk about. I would echo John in terms of a non-intrusive facility where we have these things in cities, adjacent to cities, in the rural area. We don't have issues. We don't get complaints. Now, if we had still a setback like what we're discussing, is it possible we'd get that apathetic person out there, that despondent person that could essentially vote us down? Absolutely. But in terms of what people experience with these projects when they're built, we would extend the same invite to any landowner that's surrounded by this, anybody that's got questions in the community. Happy to even do like a field day or something like that, have a group come in and see this thing. We have installations in the state. We can find a way to get people there or whatever we can meet, but I think seeing is believing. So, if you pass an ordinance today and people are still curious about solar, they still want to learn about it, happy to still coordinate that, and John himself would work with you guys if you guys wanted to come see it as well. But if we wanted to have a larger experience to understand what we're really trying to propose here, I think that's where I'm just trying to share learnings, share the opportunity. And that's what this is really. It's an opportunity to have a hand in energy in the state. I would maybe correct Crystal from the standpoint of what we were talking about was something different, just sort of working out math about how energy works. But overall, this is a situation where, Page County is an energy user. It is a status quo thing that you guys use energy, right? Even the energy you use is on an annual basis in excess of what this project would generate. However, still illustrates the need to produce it. So, I would just give you a heavy consideration that when you kill projects, establish ordinances like this that essentially ban solar in the county, it doesn't send a very good signal to both energy developers or other people that may come to develop in your county. Just as me up here opining, hopefully you can appreciate that.
Yes.
But it's, I don't think I'm far off in saying that. It is important to get these things right. We've seen people go back and forth too. So it takes time to get things right. And I appreciate comments from the last meeting about we've spent time on it. Maybe there's, like what John said, a communication glitch or breakdown. But we would love to see you guys get it right instead of going back and forth on it or weaving in and out of time. Or maybe we don't truly appreciate the resource itself and don't give it its due. Maybe people don't get to see it. That to me is a huge loss to the citizens of Page County to not be able to see how these things operate, not be able to see or hear from us and learn about the project. To have it killed here today stops our progress, stops potentially Page County and their ability to contribute to Iowa's energy mix.
Okay, well, on that, I don't agree with your opinion on that, killing this and that. You don't need 100,000 acres. You're going after, you got 400 signed up. You need a half a mile around it just to agree to it. This isn't like you gotta get the whole county to sign up.
I would love to sit in a room with you and whiteboard this out, but I don't think, I don't think we're gonna reach,
No, but I just don't agree with your
I think we're
killing
gonna have
comment.
some separation on that, but I do think that there's a visual exercise to learning more about what you're describing and what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
To me, these are the things you can get through in conversation or in a room together with somebody. So,
Yeah.
I solve problems every day exactly like that in that same format. So, again, I was going to go up here and talk about edits and stuff like that, but if your opinion is to vote on the ordinance and pass it, and that there's nothing more we can say, I guess we will respectfully close. And the door remains open. You have our cards, communication. We're happy to stay in touch, but our opinion today, as we're presenting, is that this is an effective solar killer. Ban on solar in Page County.
On industrial solar, you think it's that, not on personal, and on, and that's, so.
I'm here to talk about utility scale solar, and I honestly, I have industry experience. I would have been happy to give you red lines of both if you wanted to. And that would have been from the perspective, sure, of me at the utility, but at least I think you would have been able to get balanced information from me and then anybody else you crowdsource it from. So that's how I arrive at solutions, by the way. I don't go to one person, I don't sit in the room by myself, I ask others.
Well, yeah, I'm glad that you do that, because we did that for a year. We had representatives from your business here.
Yep.
We had it on the agenda every week for weeks, if not months. Every single section was read out loud in this room. Every single part was discussed. Every more or less was discussed. We opened it up over and over and over again. So,
I understand.
so there, well, appreciate your time.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay.
Can I say something?
Yeah, sure.
As I am Lindsay Justison, and I am just informed I was in the impacted area of this solar farm. And I didn't really have intentions of speaking tonight, but when I hear if these setbacks go any closer, you're going to kick people off their land because they physically can't live there. How is that helping Page County at all? You're bringing in, and I want to clarify something. I'm actually for solar. Joe and I talked. We would rather have solar farms than we would rather have wind farms. Like, we're trying to compromise here. I'm with you, Jacob. If they need if they need less of a setback, they need to find more land. Okay, I'm all about bringing stuff to Page County, but not at the expense of these small farmers. Crystal and Jake have animals there. They supply some of their own food with their beef, and their kids have the ability to roam free, right? When you take away that, you pretty much say that they don't matter to the rest of Page County. You say that my small 5 acres is not that important when it comes to the grand scheme of things. And that is offensive to me. When you have people over here, and I'm sorry, I apologize, it seems like they're bullying you guys into making this decision. You guys don't work for them, you guys work for us, and you need to consider people like Crystal and us, and Jake, sorry, you own that property too. They've invested more in that property, and we've invested in our property more than what you're going to see come back from the solar area. I'm all for solar. You want to put it there, fine. Just don't make the setbacks 300 feet. That's ridiculous.
Okay. Yep.
I'm Jean Wagner. My husband's Keith Wagner. We don't have property that is immediately adjacent, but this is the first time today they came and talked to us. And the frustrating part to me is you're working on an ordinance and you're wanting to waive it. Yet this is the first time they have come and talked to us as neighbors to the project. And we've been to meetings other times and they've talked about it, but no one has reached out and said, this is what the project is. Can we have a meeting of the whole community around that and we all talk about it together? That's not happened. And I feel like right now, I guess I don't understand the ordinance that you're wanting to pass, but why can we not have a meeting with them and all the neighbors in one place and talk about it and get all of the perspectives instead of saying, well, we gotta pass something, it's only been read once and we gotta pass it. We're gonna live with what the decision is. You maybe don't live by it, you don't live by the prison, you don't live by MHI, but it's never bothered you because you don't go to bed every night with the lights of the prison in your eyes. And you've not been lied to because they say, oh, it's only gonna be so many people, or it's not gonna bother you. We're fed up with that.
Yeah.
We need to know what's going on, and all the community together needs to come together and get the information all at once, and then we can make a consensus of opinion of all of the people. We don't begrudge somebody trying to sell their land. That's their right. But we need to have the information, not 2 hours, 3 hours before a meeting, where they act like we have not been home. I mean, we live, we're home all the time.
Explain, I understand your frustration, you don't even know, I understand your frustration. The ordinance that we're talking about is not passing them a permit to build it. It's not that. The ordinance is actually rules. We're under a moratorium right now, nobody can build anything.
Right, but what I'm.
So, but maybe you don't, I just want to clarify, this will force them to have a meeting with you
Right,
if you're within a half mile. Otherwise, they would be able to build it without talking to you unless you're within 1,000 feet, I think. And they would just notify you, I don't know.
Right, but what I'm saying
This is to help
no matter what
the
you're
neighbors.
passing, where has been the community effort for everybody to come together, to call a meeting and say, everybody in our section, can we come together and hear your concerns? And hear everybody's concerns, and then we can understand what's going on.
What they're passing is countywide, not just.
This is countywide.
Right, but it's still gonna affect everybody. And
You're right. It's
what
gonna
I'm
affect
asking is,
everybody.
right now, they're
Well,
looking.
what they had was, last week, they had the first reading of the ordinance. It was on the agenda to have the first reading of the ordinance. That's public.
Right.
For everybody to see, the first reading. So last week, they read the ordinance out loud.
Okay.
And what they're trying to do, what they're trying to do is protect us.
Right.
They're trying to protect the people that live here.
Right, and that's
by
what.
having an ordinance.
Right, and
Okay,
what
but
I'm not saying.
this isn't just about this project, this is about the whole county. It's all countywide. I'm right there with you.
But that's what I'm saying, is
So
why can't.
Here, let's do,
Ja-
Kalen,
Ka-
maybe you come up,
you
speak.
come up
No,
and-
Go ahead, let Gene finish.
Well,
You
what
finish?
I'm saying is, where was a meeting that
About
they
this
called
project?
for the whole project
Yeah.
countywide to be explained? We're sitting here at this meeting,
Yeah.
and half the stuff, we can't understand what you guys are saying.
Yeah.
We don't have internet at our house.
Yeah.
We don't have access to a lot of this stuff everybody assumes we do. And yet it affects us. And
Yeah.
that's my point, is that we're people that are actually involved in an
Need to
issue.
know.
We ask people about what's going on, and we're always told, what's secret? When it's important enough, we'll tell you. And we're tired of that.
Right.
And we're, at least, I don't know
I
about
think it
Keith,
was a-
but I'm really fed up
Yeah.
with the idea of the prison coming in and other things, and we're told, oh, it's only gonna be this, this, and this, and it's not gonna be a problem. And then it becomes a problem, and nobody listens. That's what I'm afraid of now. You're taking away our right to understand and make a consensus opinion without getting proper information. We're all willing to go to a meeting, aren't we? I mean,
They're
we're
actually
concerned
trying
about
to
it.
give you a right. They're trying to.
Without this ordinance, you wouldn't
They're trying
probably
to
get
get
talked
you
to.
Okay,
That,
but
this
what,
gives
They're
you,
protecting you.
this
okay,
gives
but what
you
I'm getting, I don't
communication.
understand what, like you say, they've been doing it for a year.
Yeah,
Where
it's-
have they
yeah.
been out there visiting with people?
I don't know why they haven't talked to you.
Because
for a
that's the
year.
part, and,
talked to me, Andy.
yeah, that's what I mean. They were at our house, and then they went and visited you guys, I think.
See, the reason that they haven't talked to you guys is because there wasn't enough of a setback. The setback that was, what was there is 300 foot from the front of your door. So there wasn't enough of a setback to protect you. So they didn't have to come and talk to you. That's why they haven't come and talked to you.
but the point is.
Now, we have two.
Caleb, if you're gonna talk, you
Yeah,
need
we
to
gotta
talk to
go
the
on to the
microphone.
I'm Caleb
can't-
Fulton, I live south of town.
Don't interrupt, are you
And
okay?
I would actually like to thank Todd and Jacob for keeping your campaign promises. You're standing up to protect the residents of Page County. Also, I'd like to thank them for getting on top of a solar ordinance and doing so in the public eye before it was too late. It's not too late yet, okay? We all know a board that failed miserably at this, and I'm glad that you guys are getting on top of that. That being said, I have owned an acreage south of Clarinda since 2006. Since then, I've spent a lot of blood, sweat, and tears making it a home to raise our family. And we are there a lot, okay? We're there all the time. That acreage, my acreage is surrounded by land that is in a trust. The guy that bought the land that I bought the acreage off of died 6 months after I bought the acreage. That land is in a trust, and it is controlled by people in California. So, and then there's two management companies that manage that land, and they're both absentee also. I, along with my family and friends, would like to encourage you to hold the line at a half-mile setback from property line. Thanks again, Jacob and Todd, for protecting our family. 100 or 300 feet does nothing for us, nothing at all. And I understand what's going on because I've paid attention to what's going on, and we're in this. They are helping you right now. They're helping you protect you. So,
Where's the public meetings?
this is the public meeting. We're having the public meeting. So, and for the solar guys, I don't understand. To me, dirt is very important. And we have so many parking lots and rooftops, and why are we going out and covering that prime farm ground with solar panels when there's rooftops everywhere? There's rooftops all the way around this place. There's a roof on this place. There's a place for solar, there really is, but why are we covering that prime farm ground too? Thank you.
Okay.
If I may, I'll keep the temperature down. I know we're contentious, but appreciate you. As far as the farmland, I do have an agricultural background myself. Before I did this, I worked for multiple state Department of Agricultures. I really value the agricultural point there. I do, and I hope you understand that, truly. And I wouldn't do this if I didn't think that this was a good thing. But as far as the farmland goes, Iowa has 18.5 million acres of prime farmland. 30 million acres of farmland in general, but 18.5 of the prime. In that email I sent you, I believe we referenced the resource evaluation study that we've done. And I believe it's between now and 2036, but over the next decade roughly, we do have 3,050 megawatts of solar planned for the state of Iowa. And you hear that, and it sounds alarming maybe at first, because it would sound alarming to me too, and I get it. We're looking at 7 acres roughly to make 1 megawatt. So 3,050 megawatts times 7 gets you roughly a little over 20,000 acres out of 18.5 million. So that's 0.14% of that prime farmland. Now, I'm not saying that it's not a legitimate question to ask. I'm just saying that we have asked it ourselves too, and we're taking that into account. And also, I just want to clarify one other point, and thank you again for letting me come back up again. In no way was I intending, if it was implied, to target anybody at all. These are theoretical people in the situation when I say, like, if any one person. I don't mean any one person in this room. I don't mean any one person. I didn't have anybody in mind when I said that, and I just want to say that out of respect for the people who came here tonight. And thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you. All right, well, we have
One more, just, also would just want to echo total respect for everybody in the room. Understanding that in a lot of ways, I think for a lot of us here tonight, including ourselves, but not limited to, just sort of I guess what I would just say, victims of process. And I feel like, you know, the moratorium has stretched out for a really long time. It's maybe giving you, like you've said, the time to consider it, but has created a lot of uncertainty in terms of the project. So, you know, when it comes to outreach, yeah, I said before, our engagement plan is starting to unfold. We've met with a variety of other groups, other landowners here tonight. Yes, it may have been for some folks our first interactions, but it wouldn't have been our last. And we would still welcome anybody, regardless of this project, Page County or not, if anybody would like to call me afterward to talk about solar, to see what it's like. I'm happy to work with them on that. So I'd extend that offer again. And, you know, if there's anything else that I can do to help people understand what we were trying to do here tonight, I'll do that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, well, we had a motion and a second on waiving the second and third reading. The thing I thought about that, if we did fix some things, I mean, I don't want to read the whole thing either, but I don't want to spend money printing it.
If you want to go back.
But I like-
Read it, that's fine, I don't care.
But if we read it, it's not fun to read, but it's not that big a deal. If we read it a second time, and we've read it 2 times through, I don't know if you want to do the third, I'm fine reading it 3 times, but I don't know. Our motion is to waive the second and third reading, so we need to act on that. And if we're gonna do that and vote on it, that's gonna fail, and then we're gonna read it, and then we
just to clarify, so we did, after the reading last week, we changed, mostly it was getting the zoning administrator and engineer/engineer to be
put
one-
together.
Put
That's what
together.
we changed, which we read it that way last week.
Right,
We just have it in paper form now.
yep. And so that was really the only changes. I think there might have been a misspelled word somewhere too that we fixed, but
Yeah.
I think that was the main thing that we changed when reading it last week.
So, and there's paper copies in the auditor's office. And if you're here tonight and want one, we can probably get you one on the way out, or I've got an extra one here. So, we got a motion we have to act on. We have a second. So, to waive the second and third reading, either that or we vote on that and then we go to the next thing. So, I don't know. I guess we need to vote.
We can go back, I don't care.
Huh?
We can go back and read it, I don't care.
I can vote on the motion.
Yeah, we got to
Right?
vote.
We
have
gotta
to
vote on the motion,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, go ahead.
So,
So the motion's been made.
yeah. So,
And seconded, so,
I said, so we're voting to waive the second and third reading right now. So I guess we'll vote.
Clark,
It's confusing, isn't it?
Yes.
Holmes,
I think no.
Mayor,
no, with the exception of, then we read it
Yeah.
and we don't
That's
read the
fine.
third one.
That's what I was
Okay,
thinking.
that,
I
we can
wanted
do
to
it
say
next
that.
week, that's fine.
Well, how about this? Well, that's fine, so that failed. How about we read it, and then we can make another motion to go ahead and waive the third
finalize
one
it.
and do it right now so it gets to the paper, if it passes. You see what I mean? Let's
Yeah, we
read it
could
and
do
then
that.
so everybody here who hasn't heard it can hear it. Our reading abilities and echoing is not very good, but, I guess we're gonna tear under reading
It's
this.
11 pages.
Can we go back and do the wind thing? Is that ready to go? Can we go back and do that and then go back and read it?
We need to hire a fancy reader, people that are really good at reading. I'm not the best. Sure. Well, while they're getting that ready, maybe we'll start reading for a while. I don't know, should we
Okay.
break it up?
Want me to start?
You like to record it this time, so the third time you can just play it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we should just play it. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
me to start?
Yeah, go ahead, Judy.
Page County Ordinance 2024-1, an ordinance regulating solar energy systems on property located in the unincorporated areas of Page County, Iowa, being enacted by the Page County Board of Supervisors. 1, statement of intent. The purpose of this section is to facilitate the construction, installation, and operation of solar energy systems, SES, in Page County in a manner that promotes economic development, protects property values, and ensures the protection of health, safety, and welfare, while also avoiding adverse impacts to important areas such as agricultural lands, conservation lands, and other sensitive lands. 2, definitions. A, personal solar energy systems. A solar energy system that generates electricity from solar energy, primarily for use on the same site or the same land use with which the system is physically associated. B, solar energy systems, utility scale. A solar energy system that generates electricity from solar energy primarily for sale to an electric utility or other third-party commercial or industrial user. C, dBA, the A-weighted sound level in decibels. D, decibel, the principal unit measurement for sound pressure level, the intensity of a sound wave. E, excessive noise, sound that exceeds limits set by ordinance. F, non-participating landowner is a landowner that has not signed a binding easement with the applicant, developer, owner of the SESUS project. G, occupied, non-residential building shall mean any building other than a residence that is regularly occupied by humans and that is open to the public, sells goods or services, or a public, religious, or other non-profit institution. H, project area shall mean the geographic area encompassing all components of a SUS project. I, property line shall mean the legal boundary between privately owned parcels and publicly owned land or public right-of-way. J, public conservation areas shall mean land owned by county, state, or federal agencies and managed for conservation preservation purposes, including but not limited to wildlife management areas, conservation areas, parks, preserves, covered bridges, wildlife refuges, and waterfowl production areas. For purposes of this regulation, public conservation areas also include land owned by nonprofit conservation organizations and other privately owned lands upon which permanent conservation easements have been granted to public agencies or nonprofit conservation organizations. Public conservation areas do not include land enrolled in the Conservation Reserve Program, CRP. No SESUS project is allowed on CRP land. K, FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration. L, feeder line, shall mean any above or below ground line that carries electrical power from one or more solar panels. M, surety. In finance, a surety bond, or guarantee involves a promise by one party to assume responsibility for the debt obligation of the borrower if that borrower defaults. N, performance bond is a financial guarantee that the terms of a contract will be honored. If one party to a contract cannot complete their obligations, the bond is paid out to the other party to compensate for their damages or costs. 3, personal solar energy system, PSES. Purpose and intent. The purpose of these regulations is to provide a uniform and comprehensive set of standards for the installation and use of PSESs designed for on-site home, farm, and small commercial use that are used primarily to reduce on-site consumption of utility power. The intent of these regulations is to protect the public health, safety, and community welfare without unduly restricting the development of PSESs. A, permitted use. A personal solar energy system shall be considered an accessory use to a principal permitted use. B, special requirements. Personal solar energy systems shall be subject to the requirements stated herein. 1, ground-mounted PSES height shall not be greater than 15 feet at maximum tilt at the solar panels. 2, structure-mounted PSES height shall not be greater than the allowable height of any structure within the zoning district in which the PSES is to be installed. 3, setbacks. The ground-mounted PSES shall maintain perimeter setbacks including side and rear yard setbacks, often 10 feet measured at full horizontal tilt, and shall be 10 feet from any other building or structure on the same lot. No PSES shall be permitted to be located in the required front yard setback unless at least 75 feet back from the edge of the county road right-of-way or at least 80 feet setback from the edge of state or federal road right-of-way. 4 building codes. All county, state, and national construction codes shall be followed. 5 use. The PSES shall provide electricity for on-site use by the owner. This does not prohibit an owner from making excess power available for net metering. 6. Approved solar components. Electric solar energy system components must have an underwriter's laboratory listing or approved equivalent. C. Building permit. Before a building permit is issued, the following shall be submitted to the Page County Engineer Zoning Administrator Office for review. 1. A site plan showing A. Name, address, email address, and phone number of the property owner. B. Parcel lines. C. All existing structures with heights clearly marked. D. Sanitary infrastructure, that is, septic field. E. Setback measurements. F. Easements present on the property, including those for utilities. G. Septic field tile location. H. Floodplain location, if applicable. I. Topography lines, 2-foot contours. J. Location of all solar panels and associated equipment. And K. Location of the electrical disconnect for the PSES. 2. Evidence that the local electric utility has been informed of the customer's intent to install a customer-owned solar energy system. 3. Evidence that the site plan has been submitted to the local fire protection district. 4. After a review and acceptance of site plan and required information, a letter authorizing construction shall be issued. D. Permit fee for personal solar energy system. For all permits for PSESs up to 10 kilowatts, shall incur a $100 permit fee payable to the Page County Engineer Zoning Administrator at submission of the permit request. All PSESs above 10 kilowatts shall comply with the permit fee schedule set out in this ordinance for commercial solar energy systems and solar farm energy systems. 4. Solar energy systems utility scale, SESUS. Purpose and intent. These regulations provide uniform and comprehensive standards for the installation and use of solar energy systems. Utility scale, SESUS. SESUS may include solar panels, solar support structure, inverter transformers, energy storage technologies, wiring, and other equipment necessary for the generation, storage, and delivery of electricity. The intent of these regulations is to protect the public, health, safety, and community welfare while allowing development of utility-scale solar energy resources for utility, commercial, and industrial purposes. A. Special requirements. SESUS are subject to the following requirements. 1. Height. A solar panel shall be no less than 2 feet, 24 inches off the ground. A solar panel shall not exceed 15 feet in height above grade at maximum tilt of the solar panels. 2. Setbacks. The setback shall be a public right-of-way, a minimum of 150 feet from the edge of the state and county right-of-way to the closest solar panel of a SESUS project. B. Property lines, 2,640 feet from the property line of any non-participating property owner. An affected property owner may waive this setback requirement by executing a written waiver or agreement. C. Public areas and areas under Page County Conservation Board management, 2,640 feet from the property line of designated public areas, public-owned conservation areas, and other publicly owned areas managed by the Page County Conservation Board. 1. All state and federal parks, Pioneer Park. 3. Nottoway Valley Park. 4. Pierce Creek Park. 5. Rat Park and Recreation. 6. Ross Park. 7. Page County Conservation Center. 8. Stevens Tract Direct Wetlands. 9. Wabash Trace Nature Trail. 10. All other parks or areas. D. Municipalities, 2,640 feet from the city limits of any incorporated municipality. An affected municipality may waive this setback requirement by executing a written waiver or agreement. 3. If an SESUS is to be built on more than one parcel and the parcels are abutting, a 0-foot side or rear setback shall be permitted to the property line in common with the abutting participating parcels. 4, screening. A landscape buffer may be required to be installed and maintained during the life of the operation. Determination of screening requirements will be made by the Page County Engineer Zoning Administrator as part of the review and approval process and will be based on adjacent or nearby surrounding land uses and topography. 5, fencing. A security fence of at least 8 feet in height shall enclose the SESUS. 6, lighting. If lighting is provided for the SESUS, lighting shall be shielded and downcast such that the light does not project directly onto the adjacent parcels. 7, noise. Noise levels caused by the SESUS measured at the non-participating landowner property line shall not exceed 40 decibels. 8, installation and design. The SESUS shall be designed and located in such a fashion to prevent glare toward any inhabited buildings or adjacent properties, as well as adjacent roadways. 9, utility connections. All project collection lines within the SESUS project area installation that are buried underground should be at a depth of 6 feet. Any lines outside the project space will be buried at a depth of 10 feet, depending on appropriate soil conditions, shape, and topography of the site. Distance to the connection or other conditions or requirements. High voltage line between the SESUS and substations may be above ground. 10, outdoor storage. Only the outdoor storage of materials, vehicles, and equipment that directly support the operation and maintenance of the solar farm shall be allowed. 11, endangered species and wetlands. Applicant shall seek natural resource consultation with the Iowa Department of Natural Resources. 12, weed control. Applicant must present an acceptable weed grass control plan to the Page County Engineer Zoning Administrator for property inside and outside fenced area for the entire property. The operating company during the operation of the solar farm must maintain the fence and adhere to the weed control plan. 13, waste. All solid waste, whether generated from supplies, equipment parts, packaging, operation, or maintenance of the SESUS, shall be removed from the site and disposed of in an appropriate manner. All hazardous waste generated by the operation shall be removed from the site immediately and disposed of in a manner consistent with all local, state, and federal requirements. 14, maintenance, repair, or replacement of a facility. Maintenance shall include but not limited to painting, structural repairs, and integrity of security measures. Site access shall be maintained to a level acceptable to emergency response officials. Any retrofit, replacement, or refurbishment of equipment shall adhere to all applicable local, state, and federal requirements. Any discarded materials or construction debris will be promptly removed in a timely manner. Said debris shall remain on the property no longer than 60 days. 15, cleaning chemicals and solvents. During operation of the proposed installation, all chemicals or solvents used to clean photovoltaic panels shall be low in volatile organic compounds, and the operator shall use recyclable or biodegradable products to the extent possible. Any on-site storage of chemicals or solvents shall be referenced on the site plan. 16, soil erosion and sediment control. The applicant agrees to conduct all road work and other site development work in compliance with the National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System permit as required by the State Department of Natural Resources and comply with requirements as detailed by local jurisdictional authorities during the plan submittal. If subject to NPDES requirements, the applicant must submit the permit for review and comment and an erosion and sediment control plan before beginning construction. The plan must include both general best management practices for temporary erosion and sediment control, both during and after construction, and permanent drainage and erosion control measures to prevent both damage to local roads, adjacent areas, and sediment-laden runoff into waterways. 17, stormwater management. For the purpose of pollutant removal, stormwater rate and runoff management, flood reduction, and associate impacts, the applicant shall provide a detailed stormwater management plan with analysis of pre- and post-development stormwater runoff rates for review of local jurisdictional authorities. 18, administration and enforcement. The Page County Engineer Zoning Administration and Administrator and any necessary personnel may enter any property for which a conditional use or building permit has been issued under this ordinance to conduct an inspection to determine whether the conditions stated in the permit have been met as specified by statute, ordinance, and code. Failure to provide access shall be deemed a violation of this ordinance. 19, submittal requirements. The applicant shall submit all materials contained in this subsection at the time of the application of a conditional use permit. Okay.
You gotta get drinks probably, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
We want to do that other, do the wind thing real quick?
Well, we're gonna pause, we'll pause there at B, I guess, application.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I got 2 decommissionings, what you got?
Okay, so this is,
Yeah, because that was the
Oh,
Yep.
one.
One will show the changes, one's a red line. It's the one that's highlighted.
Okay.
So the highlights will be the front page, I've just done that so you can tell which is which. And then along the left margin, there's a line wherever the changes are. And if you look in that line, you'll be able to see where the changes are marked. And in addition to the 3 things that you identified, Todd, you'll see there's a couple typographical errors. I know Supervisor Holmes, you noted there were a couple. And then the Iowa Utilities Board was renamed to Iowa Utilities Commission as of July 1st of this year, so that has been changed as well.
okay.
You'll see in that chart that has the decommissioning cost based on the 2022 estimate, I've labeled that a little more clearly to make clear where that's coming from, and the new total estimate is based on the prorated per turbine cost from that.
Did you have that in email form to send to Cindy?
Yes, I can do that. I've already sent it to Corey.
Okay, send that so that can be put on the website.
So we just need a vote on it?
I'll get your email and send it right after this.
I'd make a motion that we pass the road use agreement and the decommissioning plan.
I'll second that.
Okay, I got a motion and a second. Would sure like people to have a chance to look at it, the public, so that's my concern, only concern. Many concerns with it, but I don't like it, but I think the people should be able to see it.
Well, I think they can see it.
Yeah, well, we're gonna, today it's up there, so, that's all right. So. But anyway,
Call for the question.
okay, I'll vote
Clark,
Yes.
Holmes,
no.
Mayor,
Yes.
Okay. All right, motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your
Thank
time.
you.
Appreciate it.
All right. Let's see, we gotta go back to where we were.
Back to B.
B?
Okay.
Let's see how slow I am.
B.
Judy reads faster, here we go.
Okay.
Want me to keep reading? I can keep
Nope.
reading. I got a drink now.
Yeah, I thought you were on a roll.
I'll do a page and a half, maybe, I'll try
Okay.
that. B, application. The application for a conditional use permit for commercial solar energy system shall include, 1, a written summary of the project, including a general description of the project and its approximate generating capacity. 2, the names, addresses, and phone numbers of the owner and SGES or SFES operator. 3, the interconnection agreement, unless the developer is also the owner of the electrical power lines. 4, a site plan of the SGES or the SFES site showing A, boundaries of the site, B, all proposed SGES or SFES structures, C, property lines, D, setback measurements, E, location of all existing structures within the project area with their uses identified and other existing structure within 300 feet of the project area with their uses identified. F, topography lines, 2-foot contours, and G, floodplain location, if applicable. H, all other information contained in the Page County zoning ordinance as may be required to file an application to protect agricultural soils. All solar gardens and solar farms will be subject to a land evaluation site easement. The LESA information will be utilized for conditional use permit application and not for map amendment or rezoning purposes. C, building permit. Before a building permit is issued, the following shall be submitted to the Page County Engineer, Zoning Administrator for review. 1, site plan with all items previously required in the application. Additional items to be included are A, all SGES or SFES structures including, but not limited to, the project solar panel, substation, interconnect substation, and location and voltage of any overhead transmission lines. B, ancillary equipment. C, transmission lines. D, well. E, sanitary infrastructure, septic fields. F, field tile location. G, existing easements. And H, wetland location, if any. 2, emergency plan. The site and emergency plan shall be submitted to the local fire protection district and or departments whose jurisdiction is included in whole or in part with the SESUS project area. Any specialized training necessary will be provided at the owner-operator's expense. 3, agricultural impact mitigation plan. The applicant shall submit a plan with the permit application detailing the mitigation strategy to support agricultural use of the land. The plan will be reviewed by the county engineer, zoning administrator, and shall include, but is not limited to, results of a soil analysis conducted and assessed by a qualified professional to determine topsoil depth, as well as identify any limitation for construction and mitigation that may require special consideration. B, general list of project components and construction timeline. C, describe best practices and methods to be used during each stage of construction for protecting and preserving topsoil. Practices and methods should address at minimum avoidance of removal of topsoil. However, if removal of topsoil is necessary, applicants should apply for segregation, stockpiling, and replacement during backfill and respreading, grading, minimizing compaction, preventing and decompaction of otherwise undisturbed topsoil impacted by heavy equipment or storage of materials in wet weather conditions. D, describe environmental monitoring that will be used during construction to ensure adherence to the best practices contained in the plan. The monitoring should be done by an environmental professional at the expense of the developer. The monitoring results should be submitted to the county every 30 days during construction. E, describe the general procedures to be used for identification, avoidance, and repair of any underground drainage tile lines located within the project site before, during, and after construction. 4, vegetation mitigation plan. A, ground under and around the solar array shall be planted with a perennial vegetated ground cover as identified in the vegetation mitigation plan. The ground cover plan shall be developed in accordance with the following standards. B, avoiding removal of topsoil to maximum extent possible during development and decommissioning unless part of a remediation effort. C, the area shall be planted and maintained per the vegetation mitigation plan and perennial vegetation for the full operation life of the project to prevent erosion, manage runoff, and build soil. D, at the discretion of the Page County Engineer, Zoning Administrator, other practices such as small-scale farming, beekeeping operations, or grazing may be allowed in the ground cover areas. 5, landscaping buffer. to mitigate potential negative effects and reduce the visual impact of the SESUS, a landscaping buffer shall be installed and maintained during the life of the array of the operation. Determination of screening requirements will be made by the Page County Engineer Zoning Administrator as part of the review of the conditional use permit and will be based on adjacent or nearby surrounding land uses and topography. Where the Page County Engineer Zoning Administrator finds that a landscaping buffer is inappropriate, landscaping shall be installed with a planting area around the portions of the site specific by the Page County Engineering Zoning Administrator in accordance with the standards as of this subsection. All applications for which this subsection applies shall submit a plan, shall submit a plan for review and approval. The landscaping buffer shall use trees, shrubs, grasses, and forbs that are native to Iowa, or where appropriate, may include naturalized and non-invasive species or a combination thereof to provide a vegetation screen in all required areas. I'm getting thirsty. Yeah. I'm gonna go, or anybody
Sure.
go?
Yep.
Take a turn.
All right, 6, maintenance, repair, or replacement of a facility. Maintenance shall include, but not limited to, painting, structural repairs, and integrity of security measures. Site access shall be maintained to a level acceptable to emergency response officials. Any retrofit, replacement, or refurbishment of equipment shall adhere to all applicable local, state, and federal requirements. Any discarded materials or construction debris will be promptly removed in a timely manner. Said debris shall remain on property no longer than 60 days. 7, cleaning chemicals and solvents. During operation of the SESUS, all chemicals or solvents used to clean photovoltaic panels shall be low in volatile organic compounds, and the operator shall use recyclable or biodegradable products to the extent possible. Any on-site storage of chemicals or solvents shall be referenced on the site plan. 8, stormwater management. Prior to receiving a building permit for the purpose of pollutant removal, stormwater and runoff management, flood reduction, and associated impacts, the applicant shall provide a detailed stormwater management plan with analysis of pre- and post-development stormwater runoff rates for review by local jurisdiction authorities. 9, aviation protection. Applicant must complete and provide with the application the results of a solar glare hazard analysis tool or most recent version adopted by the FAA. Applicant must provide evidence of notice and no response and/or non-objection from FAA that the project will not affect commercial or military flights. 10, administration of and enforcement. Page County Engineer, Zoning Administrator, and any necessary personnel may enter any property for which a conditional use or building permit has been issued under this ordinance to conduct an inspection to determine whether the conditions stated in the permit have been met as specified by statute, ordinance, and code. Failure to provide access by the appointment within 48 hours of request shall be deemed a violation of this ordinance. D, certification. The SESUS shall conform to applicable industry standards, including those from the Underwriters Laboratory, UL, and Federal Aviation Administration, FAA. All applicable county, state, and national construction and electrical codes shall be followed. E, safety. All SESUS shall provide the following at all locked entrances. 1, a visible high voltage warning sign. 2, names and phone numbers for the electric utility providers. 3, names and phone numbers for the site operators. 4, the facility's 911 address and GPS coordinates. 5, the site operator will coordinate with the local fire department, emergency management agency, and 911 director to provide training on an annual basis for the first 5 years the project is completed and in operation. Said training will commence within 6 months prior to the completion of the project. After that, offered on an annual basis for the life of the project. All emergency responding agencies will sign off that said training was completed or offered. F, repowering. Proposals to replace more than 25% of the panels in a facility within a 12-month period shall be required to submit a plan for review and approval with all associated costs assigned to the applicant and/or the property owners. G, roads. The applicants, owners, and their contractors shall avoid damaging public roads. SESUS project owners shall be responsible for repair and of damage to public roads. The current Page County Road Use Agreement will be signed before any project work can start. 1. Identification of potential road usage. The applicant shall identify in consultation with the Page County Engineering and Zoning Administrator all state and local public roads to be used within Page County to transport equipment, parts, and materials for construction, operation, or maintenance of the solar energy system and related components. 2. Documentation of road conditions. Prior to construction, decommissioning, or implementation of the repowering plan, the Page County Engineering Zoning Administrator or third-party consultants selected by the Page County Engineer Zoning Administrator shall document the current conditions of the roads identified for use, with all associated costs paid for by the applicant or the owners of the facility. The County Engineer Zoning Administrator shall document road conditions again 30 days after the construction is complete or as weather permits within physical documents as well as video documentation. 3. Road preparation and damage. Any road preparation or maintenance necessitated by the SESUS as identified by the County Engineer Zoning Administrator or the third-party consultant shall be promptly completed at the applicant's expense. Any damage caused by the applicant, owner of the facility, or its contractors during construction, decommissioning, or the implementation of a repowering plan shall promptly be repaired at the applicant or the property owner's expense and to the reasonable satisfaction of the county engineer/zoning administrator based on applicable standards and code. 4. Applicant shall demonstrate appropriate financial assurance to ensure the repair of the damaged roads. At the direction of the Board of Supervisors, the applicant or the owners of the facility may also be required to provide a financial surety instrument or bond to cover all costs of potential damage to roads at the time of permitting considerations.
Want me to do it?
No, let me finish this page.
No, okay.
Okay. H, decommissioning and reclamation. Maybe I should have reclamation plan. Sorry. Prior to applying for a building permit, the SESUS project owner or operator shall submit a decommissioning plan to Page County Engineering and Zoning Administrator Office. The Engineering and Zoning Administrator shall review the plan for completeness. The plan shall include 1. A description of the plan to remove the SESUS equipment and restore the land to its previous use upon the end of the project's life, as stated in the Solar Energy Ordinance, granting the conditional use permit, or as stated in the Page County Zoning Ordinance. 2. Provisions for the removal of the structures, debris, and associated equipment on the surface and to a level of not less than 10 feet below the surface, and the timeline sequence in which removal is expected to occur. 3. Provisions for the restoration of the soil, vegetation, and disturbed earth, which shall be graded and reseeded, and or the property may be returned to agricultural use. 4. An estimate of the decommissioning costs certified by a licensed professional engineer in current dollars. The engineer providing this estimate shall submit it to the Page County Engineering and Zoning Administrator Office for review, and all costs associated with this engagement shall be borne by the applicant.
5, a written financial plan approved to ensure that funds will be available for decommissioning and land restoration. 6, a provision that the terms of the decommissioning plan shall be binding upon the owner or operator and any of their successor assigns or heirs. 7, upon review of the decommissioning plan, the Page County Engineer Zoning Administrator shall set an amount to be held in a bond, escrow, or other acceptable form of funds approved by the Page County Board of Supervisors. The value of the surety shall not be reduced based on the salvage value or of any materials or equipment. The plan shall state that Page County shall have access to the project and to the funds to effect or complete decommissioning 1 year after cessation of operations. 8, upon the county's request, the applicant shall provide the county with a new estimate of the cost to decommission the SESUS project every 5 years under the same conditions as set forth in the sections above. Salvage values of structures, electrical wire, and other appurtenances shall not be considered within the cost estimate calculations. Upon receipt of this new estimate, the county may require, and the applicant, owner, and/or operator of the SESUS project shall provide the new financial plan for decommissioning acceptable to the county. Failure to provide an acceptable financial plan shall be considered a cessation of operations. A, release of financial security. Financial security shall only be released when the Page County Engineer Zoning Administrator determines after inspection that the conditions of the decommissioning plan have been met. 1. Financial surety. After the 10th year of operation, the applicant, facility owner, or site operator shall provide a financial surety instrument to cover the cost of decommissioning in accordance with the following. B. Commissioning funds or financial surety shall be in an amount equal to the net cost for decommissioning the site, plus a 10% contingency. C. The financial surety fund shall be maintained in the form of cash, certificate of deposit, performance bond, escrow account, surety bond, letter of credit, corporate guarantee, or other form of financial assistance acceptable to the Page County Board of Supervisors. Any document evidencing the maintenance of the financial surety shall include provisions for releasing the funds to the county in the event decommissioning is not completed in a timely manner. D. Financial security shall be maintained for the life of the project. E. Every 5 years, the facility owner or operator shall retain an independent licensed engineer to re-estimate the total cost of decommissioning and attest that the value of the financial surety instrument is appropriate. This report shall be filed with the County Engineer, Zoning Administrator, and the Page County Auditor. The decommissioning funds shall match the re-estimated cost of decommissioning. Within 90 days of filing the re-estimation report with the county, the facility owner or operator shall cause the fund balance of the financial surety instrument to be adjusted to ensure that it matches the re-estimated decomposition costs. The applicant shall file the approved decommissioning agreement and roads agreement with the Page County Recorder prior to commencing construction. F. Release of financial security. Financial security shall only be released by the Board of Supervisors after inspection that all conditions of the decommissioning plan have been met. Last page. I. Indemnification and liability. The applicant, owner, and/or operator of the SESUS project shall defend, indemnify, and hold harmless the County of Page and its officials from and against any and all claims, demands, losses, suits, causes of actions, damages, injuries, costs, expenses, and liabilities whatsoever, including attorney's fees without limitation arising out of acts or omissions of the applicant, owner, and/or operator associated with the construction and/or operations of the solar energy system project. J. Cessation of operations. Any SESUS provided for in this ordinance that has not been in operation and producing electricity for at least 180 consecutive days, excluding a natural catastrophic event, shall be removed. The Page County Engineer Zoning Administrator shall notify the owner to remove the system. Within 90 days, the owner shall either submit evidence showing that the system has been operating and producing electricity or remove it. If the owner fails to or refuses to remove the solar energy system, the violation shall be referred to the Page County Attorney. In the case of a natural catastrophic event, a detailed restoration plan to return to operational status must be provided to the Page County Engineer Zoning Administrator. K. Violations and penalties. Any person who fails to comply with any provision of this ordinance shall be deemed subject to a county infraction and punishable by a civil penalty of not less than $200, but not to exceed $750 plus court costs for the first offense, and not less than $400, but not to exceed $1,000 plus court costs for each subsequent offense. Page County, Iowa may seek all relief prescribed by state law for county infractions. The Page County Auditor and the Page County Attorney and his or her assistants are the officers designated and authorized to enforce this ordinance by issuance of civil citations for county infractions. Each SESUS energy device determined to be in violation shall constitute a separate infraction. Each day that a violation occurs or continues to exist shall constitute a separate offense. L, related rules and regulations. Each solar energy system shall comply with all applicable local, state, and federal requirements. M, severability. The provisions of this ordinance are severable and the of any section, subdivision, paragraph, or any other part of this ordinance shall not affect the validity or effectiveness of the remainder of the ordinance. N, conditional use permit fee structure for solar garden energy systems and solar farm energy systems. S, stem size, 0 to 50 kilowatts, $300 permit fee. 51 to 100 kilowatts, $500 permit fee. 101 to 500 kilowatts, $1,000. 501 to 1,000 kilowatts, $200 for each additional 0 to 100 kilowatts. 1,001 to 2,000 kilowatts, still $200 for each kilowatt. That's it.
Yep, that's it, we got it. Wow, we made it.
We did it.
Okay, need
Where's my
to drink,
stick?
need to have a lot of drinks to do that, don't we?
Yeah.
Whew, okay. Well, it's the second time we've read it through, read it clear through. So we need to have a motion that we read it, right? So,
Yeah, so I would make a motion that we've read it and we waive the third reading. Do we
make one motion or two? I can't remember how that was in the ordinance. Let's make a motion, we read it first, maybe. However, we did that last week. What was the wording for that? Just a motion that it's on the agenda, Helly?
It's in your notes.
I forget.
Approve the first reading.
Yeah, so-
Dade County ordinance.
Okay,
We have the second reading.
so do the same motion with the second reading on there. Do we see that somewhere?
So I approve the reading, or the second reading of the Page County Solar Ordinance.
I'll second that.
Okay, I got a motion and a second. Discussion, we'll vote on that.
Clark,
Yes.
Holmes,
Yes.
Mayor,
Yes.
Okay, now we can entertain a motion if we think we've read it twice. If we wanted to not do it a
Yeah.
third time.
I'll make a motion that we waive the third reading of the Page County Ordinance 2024-1.
You got a motion to waive the third reading?
I'll second that.
Got a second to waive it? Okay, any discussion? We've read it out loud in the meeting twice. It's on the website and the paper copies are in the auditor's office. I have been, so. Okay, we can vote on that.
Clark,
Yes.
Holmes,
Yeah,
Mayor,
Yes.
okay. Whew, all right, we got it read. All right, now, we want to take action on tonight. We can take action on it. So we waived the third one. It's time to take action since we waived it.
And
So
it still goes to the paper.
then we'll send it to the paper in time if it passes.
Okay, I make a motion that we approve the Page County Ordinance 2024-1.
I'll second that. A motion and a second, our discussion on that. If not, we'll vote.
okay, Clark,
No.
Holmes,
Yes.
Mayor,
Yes.
Okay. Send it to the newspaper. Okay, what do we got left here? Board communication. Our scheduling.
Okay. I attended the district meeting in Creston last week, and it was very interesting. We had lots of good discussion. On Tuesday, I attended a meeting in Red Oak with Senator Shipley and Senator Dawson regarding House File 718, discussing possible changes and how things are going with House File 718. And then today I attended the webinar about the court debt distribution from 21 to 24 and how they're going to address the amounts that are owed to the counties. They're still not sure how that's going to go. It's going to have to go to the legislature because they don't have the power to pay back those amounts for those years. They've adjusted it for and are able to work on 25, but they can't do 21 through 24. So they will be owing the counties some money, but we don't know how much at this point. There will be a spreadsheet out there that we can look at, but not right away.
Okay. Anything else going on? We'll meet next Thursday?
Yep.
And then are we gonna meet, okay, we're gonna meet on the 19th, and then are we gonna meet on the 26th?
That might be, if we need a meeting that week, I was thinking it we have really only available Monday, kinda, sorta, don't we? Monday, Friday. What about swearing in? When does that need to happen?
We'll
The
talk-
second,
I think we need to, yeah, the second. is
January
when-
2nd.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. If that works, that's fine, mate. Okay.
So
well,
we may not meet the last week of the month.
well, if
We're
we
gonna
just have
meet on
to
the
see-
19th, but we may not meet the week
Yeah.
of Christmas.
We can see on the 19th if there's anything needed.
Okay,
Okay.
so the 19th might be our last meeting for the year.
Correct.
See what's needed,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
See, okay, so claims, we had claims, we passed those around.
I make a motion that we approve claims.
Got a motion?
I'll second that.
Got a second? All those in favor to pay the bills?
Aye.
Go ahead and vote.
Oh,
Sorry.
Now you changed
I
that.
did it wrong. I was looking at Cindy when I said that. I'm
Changed.
losing my marbles here. Go ahead.
Clark,
Yes.
Holmes,
Yes,
Mayor.
Yes.
okay. Pay the bills. All right, the minutes. We have minutes from December 5th. We have a motion on the minutes. I got them here somewhere.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes as stated for,
Presented. Okay, got a motion?
December 12th meeting,
I'll
December
second it.
5th, sorry.
I'll second it.
Got a motion
or
to
December 5th, sorry.
approve the minutes from December 5th. Judy seconded it?
Clark,
Yes.
Holmes.
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes.
They weren't in the paper this week. They weren't in the paper.
These would have just.
Did you
gone
send 'em?
out.
Huh?
These would have just gone out this week, so that.
They
we-
didn't go out
next-
Friday?
No.
They usually are sent in Friday,
No.
so they're in the paper the next week?
They have to be to the paper on Thursday in order to be.
They have to go
posted the
in on
next
Friday.
Wednesday.
They have to be in by Friday.
And I was told Thursday by 4.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, well, got that, got the minutes done. So then, guess what? All we have left is adjourn. Have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn at 8:27.
Second.
Motion second, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 We're adjourned.